so late? Number one, I know y'all snowed in on the East Coast, so you guys should be up too. Hey, Mark, Texas. Number two, hey, Freddie Jones. I have a ton of things to do. But hey, highly favored. I haven't seen you in a minute, sis. I had this on my mind, and I wanted to make sure that I did this. And I know for sure my team can replay it. Hey, Lori, tomorrow for the people that missed it. But I wanted to talk to you about success and what hungry really looks like. Hey, Felicia. Hey, Dawn. Great broadcast earlier. I came on and shared for you and Tanya. Great job. Hey, JR in Vegas. Hey, GSFOG. Hey, Rhonda Pugh. Hey, guys. Hey, JB Northern. Make sure you share the broadcast. Hashtag shared. We're going to be giving away a $20 gift card to my digital store so you guys can go in there and buy you something great. Hey, Sharonda Sanders. Haven't seen you in forever. So hashtag shared to win a gift card to my digital store. Hey, Chris. How you and the girls doing? So I wanted to talk about the recipe for success, or really kind of sort of the recipe for hunger. And to me, that's the baseline for how do you do what everybody else fails to do. And what appears to be a deadlift. And if you know anything about weightlifting, a deadlift is when you have to completely move something from point zero all the way and hold it over your head, right? That's a deadlift. And that's what really starting a business is. And, you know, in order to get that far and not give up, because everybody, I don't care who you are, including myself, you're going to be dealt some blows because this thing changes. You know, this is not a target that's just sitting still and waiting on you to get your life right and your business right to aim at it. This is a always moving target. And so in order to persevere, you know, the first step is even more so than your mindset and even more so than motivation. You got to be hungry. You know, that's one of the things I love in that little show P. Diddy has, like The Four. He always talks about eat, eat, eat. And if you listen to him talk, he talks about how when you're really hungry, you leave it all on the table every single day. Hey, Sharita. Hey, sis. Haven't seen you in a minute. Hey, Teresa. Thanks for sharing. If you guys haven't shared the broadcast, please share. But he talks about how when you're really hungry, you don't blame other people. You work and work and work until you figure it out. And I've talked to so many people over the last few days that when one little thing doesn't work right, they're ready to throw in the towel. And that blows me away. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And if you're in my UCU group, I'm going to give you guys a special video with some takeaways as to what I need to see you guys do in order to really bring this lesson home. But first and foremost, hunger to me, and this is just my definition, and what I encourage you to do is define what hunger is for you. But hunger for me is wanting more for myself today than I had yesterday. Being able to provide more for my family today than I could yesterday. Being smarter today than I was yesterday. That's what hunger is to me. Hunger is saying I have a choice that if I want to change my situation, I can. And I will. Regardless. I'm going to repeat that. Hunger for me is a choice. And every day when we wake up, we all have choices. And we can say, you know what? I'm going to choose to just be okay. Or I can say, I'm going to choose to be more. And in order for me to be more, I have to do more. And I have to do differently. Because see, there's only so much more you can do. I think we have to say we got to do more and we got to do more differently. So to me, hunger is more than motivation. Hunger is the drive that makes me work when I don't want to. Because I know that there's more on the line than just my success. Oh, thank you, Sharita. I appreciate that. And so Hunger to me is the ability to make a change in my life and being committed to that change no matter what. So that's hunger to me. That's my definition of hunger. And I challenge you to define what hungry looks like for you. Because I talk to people, and Drake said it best. He said there's way more people that want it than people that have it. And see, the access, it's there for anybody. Anybody can have it. But do you have enough determination and hunger to go get it? Look at your neighbor and say, go get it. See, because it's not going to come to you. And going and getting it can't be a part-time thing. It can't be a temporary thing. If you want it, you got to go get it every day. You got to wake up getting it, and you got to go to bed getting it. And I am behooved by the number of people in business that make business about everything more than going to get a client every day. The essence of business is that if you were a caveman, your job is to hunt and feed your family. That's what business is. So every day that you're not making a move towards getting a client is a wasted day in business. You want to move the needle on your bank account? Go get a client every day. And anything other than that is not hungry. Because there's not any excuse for not growing and building your business. And yet times change and times get tough. But the essence of what you do remains the same. And if you're really hungry, you'll do everything that it takes. If I give you a recipe as a coach, you're not going to do number 1 and number 6. If I give you a 10-step recipe as a coach and I say, look, here's how you cook this $1 million cake. And you go out there and you say, well, I'm just going to do number 1 and I'm going to do like number 6. And then your cake don't turn out to be $1 million. It's not my fault. I gave you the recipe. And hungry means I'm going to do steps 1 through 10. And then when the cake is done, I'm going to even put a little whipped cream and a cherry on top. I'm going to do more than you required. You cannot possibly do less than what the recipe calls for and think you're going to still be successful. So that's number 2. So number 1 is hunger is more than motivation. Number 2 is doing more than is required. Never be comfortable. Hey, Keisha. So if you want to say to yourself, I'm hungry, now don't get it twisted. And if you haven't shared the broadcast, make sure you share the broadcast. #shared. I'm going to be giving away a $20 gift certificate to my digital store, to someone on Periscope and Facebook. Hey, Trina. Hey, Nelson. And it's more than pushing through it, Christina. I'm going to look at it like this. Comfortable and grateful are 2 different things. I am amazingly super grateful for everything that I have. Hey, Cordelia. But at the same time, I am not comfortable. And if that means that I can get up tomorrow and compete with myself, see, that's my only competition. My only competition is, can I be better today than I was yesterday? Hey, Naquana. And if you're not making that confrontation, if you're not competing with yourself in that manner, hey, Prophetess, welcome back, then you're comfortable. If you're truly hungry, you're never comfortable. There's something in your life or something in your business that you're always working to improve. And that doesn't mean that you're insatiable. That just means you want to be your best you and that you're for real about it. Hey, Lynn, that you're serious about it. So grateful and comfortable are 2 different things. And that brings me number 3. Are you in relentless pursuit of what success looks like? And again, it changes for day to day. What worked for your business last year, it may not work this year. Look at those algorithms in Facebook. They're always changing. So you got to always be working to educate yourself with what works now. You got to be in a relentless pursuit. To me, it's the difference between good work versus great. And there's a book by Tim Grover called Relentless. If you don't know who Tim Grover is, Tim Grover is a basketball performance coach. He coached Kobe Bryant. He coaches LeBron James. He's coached many of the greats. And he wrote a book called Relentless. And he talked about what it takes to be great. And he gave 3 levels. He said, I can't remember the 3 levels, but it was basically, are you apathetic? Meaning whatever happens, happens. Do you try a little bit? Or do you try a whole lot? To the point that he made the comparison. And again, if you haven't shared the broadcast, share the broadcast. And thank you guys for the hearts. He made the comparison of when Kobe, who's already a good player, tore his ACL. And instead of leaving the game where he'd already scored a magnificent amount of points, he went to the free throw line and made both shots in order to make sure his team won. The difference between good and great, that's hungry. And when you find a way to define hunger for yourself, a lot of y'all are looking for hunger in the world. And that's the unfortunate thing, is nobody can give you hunger. I can give you some level of motivation, but at the end of the day, nobody can get you hungry but you. You got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired of your current situation. I'm going to tell you, sick and tired turns into hungry. The first time that you realize that your dominance in not stopping, your perseverance can change your situation, like literally, you become hungry. Because that means that you never become a victim to your finances. You never become a victim to the relationships that you're in. You never become a victim, hey auntie, to anything else in your life once you determine that you're going to be hungry. Hey Barry. Again, a lot of people say they're hungry, but everybody does not mean it. Everybody does not wake up every day and say, you know what? And that was one of the reasons that I brought Shamari Wheels on. And if you guys didn't catch it, I'll probably send the replay out tomorrow via email. But there's a book that's hungry. That's hungry, Barry. There's no such thing as late. There's a book by Shamari Wheels called Black Fortunes. And in that book, he talks about how the first generation of African Americans out of slavery became millionaires. And it's a very little known story. Everybody says Madam C.J. Walker was the first millionaire. She was not. She was the first one to flaunt her wealth, but she was not first. They were hungry because what happened was they had been living in squalor. They had been living with nothing. And when they came out of slavery and realized that they now had the freedom to control their destiny, they said, I'm not going to let anything stop me. And I think what's happened is we've grown comfortable because we got a little job. We got a little piece of house the bank owns. We got a little piece of car the bank owns. And we've grown comfortable and allowed our creativity to be siphoned away from us at a job. And I'm not going to lie, it was me too. You know, they stole my creativity. They stole my energy, my effort, my great ideas, my leadership. They stole all of that. And I allowed them to. And at the point where I said, you know what, if I can do so much for this job, just imagine what I can do for myself. Sick and tired morphed into hungry. Is anybody keeping up? If you're keeping up, say, I got you, coach. Is anybody keeping up with what I'm saying? So a lot of times It's not until we get sick and we get tired that we turn into hungry. A lot of us, to be honest, are just too comfortable to make that stretch into what hungry is. And as long as you're comfortable, unfortunately, as long as you're lying to yourself, right? Because until you and your kids have everything that you need, from college tuition to houses to cars and land in your name, you don't have anything. You don't have anything. Comfortable. And I told people earlier, I said, look, if you're ready to get uncomfortable and move yourself to the next level, send me a message on Facebook. Let's spend some time together. Let's get you into a program so you can make change if you're ready to be hungry. And there's a difference. So we talked about, number one, is more than motivation, because motivation wears off. Motivation dies. Motivation goes to sleep. Hunger is insatiable. Number two, it's the difference between grateful and comfortable. Are you setting big goals for yourself? I had a meeting with my team earlier, and we plan on doing 5 cities. Man, I can't believe I'm about to say this. 5 cities in about 6 or 7 states for the rest of this year. So we're going to do 25 to 35 live events in about 25 to 35 cities, from the East Coast to the West Coast, Florida, Texas, the South, the Midwest, you name it. We're going to be there. And it's scary. And it's a big goal, but I'm hungry. And you know, when you do things that are outside of your comfort zone, you're rewarded. And that's the difference. We all have the capacity, but are you more hungry? Thank you, Alicia. Not yet, but we're coming. Are you more hungry than you are afraid? See, that's another thing. That's number 4. You got to ignore what the world is doing and watch the greats. You can't be hungry hanging out with normal people every day, having conversations with regular people every day. Spend some time with some hungry people. Spend some time on the phone with some relentless people. Spend some time in the corner with some people that refuse. Come to a conference. Come to one of these live events. And just get a glimpse of what hungry looks like and what hungry gets you. And I promise you, it will shift your mindset. But again, nobody can get you hungry. Hungry people are all but almost guaranteed success. You know why? They won't have it any other way. Hungry people are almost all but guaranteed success because they are in the relentless pursuit of it. They look for success like we look for a job when we get laid off. Anybody ever lost their job in a bad economy and had to go out there and compete against highly educated and highly talented people to get a new job? That's what hungry people do every day. They go out into the world and they compete relentlessly. Same energy, same effort, different result. Same energy, same effort. I work about as many hours now as I worked as a corporate employee. Same energy, same effort, totally different result. So when you're hungry, and you know, you ain't gotta, it doesn't have to be ho-hum. And this is the case for, you gotta do what you love to do. You gotta figure out that thing you love to do so that while you're doing it all day and all night, you don't feel bad. While you're doing it early in the morning or late at night, you don't feel bad. You look forward to getting up And you look forward to doing it because it's what you love to do. So if that thing is music or teaching other people or helping other people with their relationships or whatever it is, you got to find that thing that you love to do so that you can be in relentless pursuit of being great at that thing you love to do. Like I said, make it fun. Compete against yourself. That's your only competition anyway. So again, you got to ignore what the rest of the world's doing. Because the rest of the world will have you living by a status quo. And if you want true elevation, look at the people around you who are elevating and say, I want that. And get with those people and say, hey, how do I get that? I'm sick and tired of the mundane. I'm sick and tired. And then once they say, hey, come do this, you got to do it all. You got to do it all. You can't skip steps and think you're going to make it. And that's number 5 is do the work. You know, there's so many people that, like I said, you know what it is that you want. The question is, are you willing to do the work, make the sacrifices, make the investments in order to get it? And 80%, 85% of the people's answer is no. About 14% of the people's answer is yes, but they don't really mean it. And that's why 10% of the people in the world control 80% of the world's wealth. It's because they mean it. So they're not just paying lip service to it. They're willing to do the work, which brings me to number 6. You got to train your mind. You got to train your mind. You can't be running around letting anybody. That's right, Teresa. I was just going to say that. And never let someone convince you that you don't belong at that level. You got to train your mind. This is like an Olympic race. So when your mind tells you, girl, you can't, you got to tell your mind, oh, yes, I can. And hanging out with people. I don't get this. I don't get this for the life of me. We run around hiring coaches that have never done the stuff that they're coaching you to do. We run around hanging out with people who've never done the stuff that we want to do. We run around taking advice from people that don't have the money or the lifestyle that we want to have. And I'm like, wow. Good morning, Tisha. I'm like, wow. At what point do you say, I'm going to align myself with somebody that is taking the journey regardless? And that's another thing, Valisha. You cannot be all over the place with who you listen to. Everybody else has got a different school of thought. And if you eat from too many plates, and that's what people do, I'm going to go over here and listen because it's free. I'm going to go over here and get some advice over here because it's free. And if you listen to too many people and you eat too much food from too many plates, you're bound to get sick. And all because we can't sit still long enough to watch the business grow. And they don't grow overnight. And that's the true story. So you got to do the work. You got to train your mind. And number 7, I said you got to spend time with winners. And number 8, you got to realize hungry comes from inside. Hungry comes from inside of you. At the point where you say, enough. I've had enough. So this is what people say. They say I'm hungry, so I never lose it, Compositionists. That's the thing. I don't lose my hunger. And if I were to lose it, I will remember what I have to lose. You know, and that's why it's so, like I said, it's so critical that you have a mission. And that your mission is important to you. People say I'm hungry, so I'm going to sign up for a coaching program. And then coach starts giving you assignments and you say, I'm scared. Or you don't do them in totality. Or, no, that's okay, Malcolm. You don't do it in totality. Or you drag your feet to do it. So at that point, that's the equivalent of getting a gym membership and going to the gym and just sitting down and watching people work out. It's not going to work because you didn't do the work. Trust me, I know about gym memberships. And that you can't just get a snack and go to the gym and sit and watch everybody else and lose. You can't do it. I've tried it. Unless you go into the gym, get with a professional, do exactly what the professional tells you to do, it's not going to work. So you think that because you hired a professional or you got a gym membership, it's going to work. And you know what, Malcolm? This whole trip is fear. You may have just joined, but I said, look, me and my team earlier, let me show you. Matter of fact, is it in this book? Watch this. Let me show y'all something scary. So in April, we're doing New Orleans and we're doing 5 cities on the East Coast. In May, we're doing 5 cities in Texas. In June, we're doing 5 cities in Florida. In July, we're doing 5 cities in the South. I'm telling y'all about fear. In August, we're doing Vegas, and about 2 or 3 cities on the West Coast. In September, we're doing 5 cities in the Midwest. Probably St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis, Ohio, and Michigan. In October, we're doing 5 cities on the West Coast. In November, we're doing 5 cities in Louisiana. And my conference in Louisiana. And in December, we're doing a retreat in Puerto Rico. That's about 35 cities. I am scared out of my mind. What if don't nobody show up? What if we get tired? What if? But I'm going to go. I'm going to go and I'm going to learn. And whether it works or not, it's going to work for me. I'm going to make it work. And that's hungry. Because that's exactly what Obama did. When they said, Obama, you'll never be president, Obama said, shoot, I'm finna get out here on this campaign trail. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So here's the difference. You think you scared now and you at ground zero and you really ain't got nobody to fall. You really ain't got far to fall and you really ain't got many people watching you. Have about a good 200,000 followers online like I do. And then fall. See how high up you get and then fall. Does that make sense? Who is that taking pictures? So once you really see, that there's fear at all levels. It's like a fear of heights. The higher up you go, the more afraid you get. How can I tell who's taking pictures? But does that make sense what I'm saying? So the fear's there. The fear's always going to be there. The higher up you go, the more you're going to get afraid. But fear is a skill too. And I'm actually doing a masterclass this weekend called Fight Fear and Win. bit.ly/Fight Fear 18. Yeah, tell me how I can find out who's taking pictures. bit.ly/Fight Fear 18. Because fighting fear is a skill. The more you do it, the better you get at it. It's so many Jedi mind tricks that you can play to be able to fight fear. But at the same time, the more you fight, the stronger you get. Joyce Meyer says, do it afraid. There's more to it than that. Scientifically, there are 3 different levels of fear. There's 3 different responses to fear, right? Everybody always talks about fight or flight. Nobody ever talks about froze. And the majority of people languish in that 3rd area of fear, which is froze. And so because you're froze, you can't do either. You can't fight and you can't run. So you stay stuck. And until you get the tools to actually free you, that's where you stay. And that's true. Hey, Lisa. And that's a true story. So that's what we're going to be doing this weekend in the masterclass, is really giving people the tools to break out of the fear. Because here's the thing. You never stop being afraid, but now you got the tools to fight. And if you never get the tools to fight, you never break out of it. Did that help? So, everybody's afraid. In Sambuca, I'm sorry, it's not complicated at all. And if you don't get it, there's a lot of books you can read on, mastering your fear. Or like I said, you can come to the master class. But to do nothing means you're resigned to staying where you are. And that's hungry. Hungry is, I got a problem. And I'm going to be relentless in my pursuit of solving that problem. Some of you know your business is not making enough money. But instead of you being relentless in looking for a resolution as to why your business is not making enough money, you stay there. Some of you know that you could do better than working a job. But instead of working on other options that would free you from a job, you stay there. So that's the difference between comfortable and hungry. Hungry is always saying, I know that if Oprah could make it, like Kanye said, you can get through anything if Magic made it. Hello? So you look at all of the people who have made it in spite of a ton of obstacles, and you say to yourself, well, if they made it, I know the puzzle is solvable. I know there's a resolution to the puzzle. And so let me keep turning this Rubik's Cube until I come up with a solution. So today I may solve for the green side. Tomorrow I may solve for the white side, the blue side. So it's Sambuca. The thing about it is God doesn't want you anyway. God gives you free choice, right? It's in the Bible. We all have choices. And so we have to decide every single day, what choice are we going to make with our life? God gives us free will. And so we got to say, hey, God gave me free will. I can make a different choice. And he does not give us the spirit of fear. So we got to look at man and say, where is my fear coming from? And if y'all listen to Shamari, and guys, grab a copy of that book. It's by Shamari Wills. It's called Black Fortunes. And when you look at what we used to have to go through, and everybody has their own history, regardless of what your race is, everybody has their own history. Everybody's ancestors have their own history. And everybody learned from their parents different things. You learn how to operate with money. Your fear of money, your money story, that comes from your parents. Your fear of success, your success story, that comes from your parents. So in order for you to truly be successful, sometimes you have to get over what you were taught by your parents and be willing to be open to learn something else. And when you listen to that book, Black Fortunes, it talks about how our fear of money, especially as African Americans, is deeply embedded because when we came out of slavery, it would almost cost you your life to be rich. And so over the years, that fear of money was handed down. That fear of success was handed down. And we may not know why we're so afraid of success and why we're so afraid of money. But we were taught that somewhere in our history. I'm gonna tell y'all a funny story. It was a lady. This story I heard a long time ago. And every Christmas when she went to cook the roast, hey Nab, she would cut off the ends of the roast before she cooked it. Perfectly good roast, but she would cut off the ends. And so her daughter asked her mom, why do you do that? And she said, I don't know. Nana always did it. So they called the grandma and said, Grandma, why you always cut the ends off the roast? And she said, I used to do that, baby, because my pan wasn't big enough. Did y'all catch that? We do a lot of stuff that we were taught to do because we were told it was right. And we don't even know why we do it. And out of respect, we never question, right? We never question, why do we do? Because old school, we didn't question. And these children nowadays, these children will be like, why I need to do that? Why I need to do this? But old school, we didn't ask no question. If they told you to go stand outside in the rain and you didn't move fast enough, you'll be in that rainwater with whelps. Hello? True story. My grandma told you to do something, it didn't have to make sense. Is anybody with me on that? When my grandma told me to do something, it didn't have to make sense. And I wasn't going to stand there too long and ask, hey, CJA, and ask why I got to do this. Because the next time I ask why I got to do this, I'm going to be laying on the floor asking it. No questions. No questions. Hey, Marissa, you bet not ask. You bet not. And so a lot of the things that we learned, and let's listen, they taught them to us because, they were teaching us how to survive. Y'all remember that get knocked in the next week? I'll knock you in the next week. Y'all remember that saying? They had so many fly sayings. Y'all remember that saying, your ass is grass and I'm the lawnmower? Y'all remember that saying? So, it was one of those things that we didn't question it. Hey, Tanya, great interview earlier. We took everything for granted. Yep, I'll knock you into the middle of next week. Hey, D. Morris. And so some of the things that go get a job, get a good job and retire, it may have been accurate then, but it's no longer accurate. Make sense? So it's up to us to say, look, I'm hungry enough, no tea, no shade, but I got to question what I was taught. And if I'm not willing to question what I was taught and change that mindset, I saw Tanya on earlier with one of my clients, Adon. Tanya is one of my clients. And Tanya went through Adon's credit repair program. See, we was always taught. Now, my grandma, she believed in cash. She believed in it. She wasn't a fan of credit cards at all. If she couldn't pay for it cash money, she didn't get it. But now my mama was new generation. Baby, my mama was new generation. My mama believed in burning down the malls. Baby, we ain't got to have no money. Long as we got some availabilities on this card, we going to go get it, right? Yeah. So the difference was night and day. My grandmother never owed anybody for anything, and my mom owed everybody. So I've lived both of those different lifestyles. And at some point, you got to say to yourself, I don't want my credit to be bad anymore. I need to go fix it. And a lot of us have ignored it, thinking that, credit is not important. So sometimes you have to shift your mindset into saying, and that was Tanya being hungry. I remember being in Atlanta and Tanya saying, Coach, I'm going to hire you, but I'm going to go get my credit right first. And she talked about that tonight. She said, Coach, I made a decision. I made a decision on a fixed income to go and get my credit right. She was hungry. And not only did she just enroll in the program, she enrolled in the program. And like I said, she did the work. So the recipe for hungry, let's see if it fits. Number one, it was more than motivation, because motivation fades. She didn't start the program and stop. She started the program and she kept going. Number two, she was grateful for what she had, but she wasn't comfortable. And in order to make change, you've got to be uncomfortable. So grateful and comfortable, two different things. So she set a big goal. And even tonight she was saying, I'm not stopping till my credit is 800. So she set a big goal and she went after it. That was number two. Number three, she was in relentless pursuit. She said she signed up for 3 different credit programs because she was in relentless pursuit of improving her credit. So she wasn't competing against your credit or my credit, but she was competing every day to make her own credit better. Number 4, she started ignoring the world and she started listening to what her coach, Adon, told her. I have so many clients that if they just listen to me, they will make way more money than they're making right now. It may be hard, it may be difficult, but listen. Because I'm not telling you anything that I'm not doing myself. So she ignored the world and she started watching people with good credit. Number 5, she did the work. She said, look behind me. I got a poster on my wall. It's not a day that goes by I'm not working on my credit. Number 6, she trained her mind that this was important to her. Number 7, she started spending time with winners. Right? These are all of the things that we said were the recipe for hungry. It works in any situation. You hungry for a man? Apply that recipe. You hungry for change in your life? Apply that recipe. You hungry for more finances? Apply that recipe. You hungry to leave your job? Apply that recipe. It works. It works. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. Does anybody have any questions? So don't forget, this weekend, bit.ly/FightFear18. I'm doing an amazing Fight Fear. Hey, Carrie from Argentina. Fight Fear Masterclass. The first of several different masterclasses that I'm going to be doing this year because I don't want to stretch it out. I don't want to do a 10-week course when I can do one day and you walk away with a plan to fight your fear. Because that's important to me. Right, Sharon, is so important. Oh, Miyama, Karina. Hi, Karina. What's hola? I don't know if that's right. I don't speak but 2 languages, English and Ebonics. Anybody got any questions? Now, y'all got to have something to ask, Coach. Come on now. The masterclass is only $199 for non-clients and $99 for clients. So grab your seat. It's going to be amazing. And I'm actually turning it into a 10-session work package. So it's going to be a workbook / book / videos that people can buy at any time to be able to work through their fear. So this is the first level of that. And I'm creating more of those hands-on products. So if you come to me and say, hey, Coach, I got this issue with fear, I can say, look, no, Tanya, you don't have to thank me. Here's the thing. You took it up on yourself and you did the work. And you were committed. You were committed. Forget the critics. And that's what a lot of us don't do. We so busy. I've never understood why people listen to people in the same situation as them. You taking advice from somebody that don't make money in their business. You taking advice from somebody with bad credit. You taking relationship advice from a single person. Where they man at? If I'm taking relationship advice from you, you better have a fine man and you better be happy and y'all better been together for a long time. True story. If I'm taking health advice from you, you better be super fine in shape, and you better just be, you got to be good at what you do. Stop taking advice. I heard somebody say, oh, I'm going to take an email class from somebody. I said, are you on their email list? Because, girl, they don't send about 4 emails a year. So how you setting up email funnels or taking an email funnel class from somebody that doesn't have email funnels? How you taking a class on how to leave your job from somebody that's still working full time? How you taking a class from somebody on how to make money that's losing money in their business? And I just don't get it. Just don't get it. Questions? If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. I'm normally not here that late at night, but I've been trying to do better because I've been trying to get in front of different people. I'm hungry. I want to get in front of the people, and I prayed to God for this at the beginning of the year. Good morning, Passion. I said, God, send me the people that's hungry. Send me the people that want a high 6, 7-figure earnings, don't mind doing the work, don't mind putting the time in, and are not going to be too afraid to, push the go button. Hey, Keisha. And, when you ask God for something, right? When you believe in God for something, you got to say to yourself, what do I need to do to help make it happen, right? He said that. He said faith without works is dead. So I said, I'm finna hit these 25 cities. Ooh, Keisha, I need me a little makeup artist to hit the road with me. I like I told you, CJ, I'm doing something different. You can't do the same thing that you've done before and expect different results. All right, Keisha, love you, sis. Yeah, I'm hitting the road to go to Dallas. I'll be in Dallas tomorrow doing a special presentation for International Women's Day. You get your tickets for $9 live stream. It's called Her Story. Her Story. And it's the story of women and money and what we need to do to earn more, save more, and invest more. And that's what you guys asked me for. I went out on Facebook and I was like, hey, guys, what do y'all want me to do my presentation of? What's LA? I'm going to be in Dallas, Texas. Oh, thank you, CJA. I didn't even know you were in the UK, boo. I didn't know that. I'm going to have to make my way over, but Donald Trump got to get out of office first because he don't be letting people back in the country. He might be talking about I'm an illegal alien and I can't come back in. You never know, girl. You never know. So I'm going to wait till he get out of office to do my traveling. But yeah, I just wanted, and like I said, if you're in UCU, I'm gonna make a special video for you guys for some actions to take. CJ, I don't remember you telling me that because I don't forget much. When you told me that. Oh, thank you. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, Classy Brown Beauty, but I'm going to take it as a compliment. She said, you hilarious. That's part of loving what you do, too. Oh, the link for the virtual ticket is bit.ly/Dallas Millions. Tell her, Lori, I don't forget much. I don't. But I'm going to tell you what will help me if you put a real picture on there. That will help me remember. Yep, and it's $9 because we're going to be talking about what women really need to do to not only regain their buying power, but also regain their ownership of land and finances and everything in between. Oh, thank you, Marissa. Marissa said, you are hilarious and full of personality. That's why we love you. Thank you for coming to my event the other day, Marissa. I meant to tell you that. I know Baytown, girl. That's like going to another country. I don't think I'm smarter than anybody else. Let me tell you what I tell you guys. Hey, Terry. What I tell you guys is I'm a combination of knowledge and action, which is wisdom. And so I read a lot of books. And then I don't just read them. I take what I read and I try it. And to me, as a result of that, I'm able to give you guys not just what I think works in theory, but what really, really works. And to me, that's what makes me a great business coach. And I care about people's success. Like, really, really care. Yeah, I want to make my money, but at the end of the day, I want you to make your money too. I work hard on that knowledge thing, Lori. I do. I really do. But I think that's what makes you competitive. It's a lot of coaches out there. So what makes you the best coach? And with me, it's going to be standing. Look, I can show you. Look, let me show you. This is my desk. Book number 1. Book number 2. Book number 3. Book number 4. Book number 5. Book number 6. And that's just this week. If you ask me next week, Coach, show me the books on your desk, I'm going to show you a whole different 6 books. Even my housekeeper know. You do, Lori, and I'm going to help y'all with that. Just let me know what I need to do to help. Even my housekeeper know. Leave these books alone, and when I throw them on the floor somewhere, you can rotate them out. Here's the thing. One of the things I did, and we earned our first $1 million last year in revenue. And one of the things I did to earn that first $1 million is for years I did nothing but study books by and from millionaires. I said that earlier. Hang with winners. You want to win? Hang with winners. You can't hang with winners? Read books by winners. It's a whole lot of books get written every year. Are you reading the books by the people that's actually making the money? Or are you reading the books by the people that's making money off the books? Hold on. I'm going to repeat that. Anthony Robbins, he's actually crushed it. Gary Vaynerchuk, he's metaphorically and literally crushed it. And that was the name of his first book. Now is the time to crush it. Are you reading books by the people who've done it? Or are you reading books with cute names and the only money they've ever made in business comes off the book you bought from them? And there's a difference. Hang with winners. And in the absence of being able to hang with winners, I tell you, when people tell me they can't afford coaching, I get that because money's not everybody's friend. But what are you doing to change that situation? So if you read a book a week for a year, in a year, you'll be able to afford coaching and then some. It's a true story. And that's what I did. Yesterday, quote unquote, yesterday, the 7th, was my 7th anniversary of starting a business. That's when I started to write my very first book. March 7th, 2011. Took me 7 years. So, Kim, I'm not your investment person, but I do have resources to help you with investments and especially real estate. We do dabble in the stock market, and I'm sending out something to my email list this week about that. But with women, more than anything, we need to learn our worth and learn how to earn. And that's going to solve like 80% of our problems. So I'm going to tell you, when I started that journey, the coaching company that got me started at the time, they coached me in corporate America. And they said, if you want to be an expert, read a book a week on any one subject. And if you want to be an international expert, read a book a week for 3 years on any one subject. So let me tell you what our problem is. Number one, most of us won't narrow down a subject. And I narrowed my subject down to money, all things money. The mindset of money, sales, people and money, the art of persuasion, online money, digital marketing, everything that I social media and money, everything that I do, therefore, is to help you generate more revenue. And once you generate more revenue, you solve quite a few of your problems. Even the Bible said money answereth all things. What does the Bible say about money? Because that used to be my thing. Exactly. Organic brown sugar. You become an industry expert and nobody can argue with your knowledge. People can argue with your looks. They can argue with how your website looks, but at the end of the day, no one can argue with your knowledge, and no one can take it away. Oh, thank you, sis. She said she just told a testimony about me when her daughter passed, and she was on the way. Yep, I remember sis like yesterday because you told me that on the phone. She was on the way to her daughter's school, and they didn't yet know what had happened. But that broadcast that morning, I was talking about being prepared. Being financially prepared for these cards that life is going to shuffle us. And, it's nothing worse than a loss of any family member. But what makes it even worse is when you're not financially prepared to deal with the fallout. Does that make sense? So it doesn't resolve the problem because you still have the loss. But you don't have to couple that loss with, now how do I figure out how to bury my loved one, or how do I figure out how to get the medicine they need, or how do I figure out how to pay the bills? How do I figure out how to pay my light bill and my water bill? How do I make all of this work? And for a lot of us, it would give us at least some level of peace to be able to not have to worry about that part. And so, yep, that's what my broadcast was about. And I'm very passionate about women changing the way they operate with money. And I lead by example. Oh, thank you. Don't make me cry, sis. Don't do it, sis. I'll be in Philly too in April. So I'll be in Philly, Maryland, Jersey, DC. So make sure you come see me somewhere. And so I do believe, sis, that God does align us with the people that we need to take us to the next level. But we've got to say yes. Does anybody agree with that? It goes back to that free will. So a lot of times we'll be praying, hey, God, expand my territory. Hey, God, send me some help. Hey, God, I'm tired of living this way. And then when he sends us somebody, we say, oh, I can't afford that. And a lot of people, when they get me on the phone, they're surprised that they can afford to work with me. And a lot of times people don't even ask because they count themselves out. And they get on the phone and they say, that's it, coach. And I say, that's it. I got programs for as inexpensive as $59 a week for a year commitment. And you get a class a quarter, 10-week class. It's like college. People say, that's it, coach. Yeah, that's it. And they're like, wow, I shied away from you for all these years because I said I couldn't afford it. You put your own destiny on hold. See, that's what people have to understand. As a business owner and as a business grower, because what I do does contribute to your business growth, it's tax deductible. So when you say, no, I can't afford it, you're saying you can't budget enough. You can't budget your money well enough to afford coaching now, knowing that you're going to get it back on your taxes. And I read an article, and especially it was an article about, there's two. One about women's buying power and one about African American buying power. And because I serve a predominantly women and predominantly African American community, I can't believe people can't afford $59 a week. But again, that's that mindset. Because we buying everything else and doing everything else with our money. But that's not hungry. Because hungry is, I'm going to cut my cable off. And I'm going to spend a year listening to this woman and her videos. That's going to be my TV. And at the end of this year, I'm going to see where I'm at. Hey, Judge. That's hungry. And I've done it. Or I'm going to spend a year catering at least one event a week so I can have my money for this class. That's hungry. That's hungry. or I'm going to spend a year making gift baskets, or I'm going to spend a year making this, or I'm going to spend a year making that. Am I going to try what, Chris? Hey, Lisa Ricardo, I miss you, sis. So that's hungry. And then a lot of people think, oh, coaching is a one-time event, but it's not. You should be in relentless pursuit of the knowledge to take you to the next level. And that's one of the reasons I study so hard, is because whatever you learned from me 2 years ago, oh, I don't watch TV anyway, baby. I don't, but I've done it. Whatever you learned from me 2 years ago, I've evolved light years beyond that, because it takes that to keep my business running. Don't ever hook up with a doctor that ain't been back to school in the last year, because the medical field changes so fast. He over there cutting on you, girl, and could be using laser. Do y'all hear me? Don't ever hook up with a doctor that don't stay in front of their craft. Don't hook up with anybody that doesn't stay in front of their craft. Because they over there cutting on you, not realizing it's a new treatment. And you ain't even got to have surgery. So, that's my responsibility as a coach. It's also your responsibility for whatever you do in business. You got to stay in front of your craft so that your clients can continue to come to you and be serviced by you. It's a true story. So that's why I read. That's why I study. That's why I go to so many conferences. But that's also why I create so many products and services, so that I can meet people at where they are. True story. Y'all got any questions? I'm finna get out of here. Going to Dallas tomorrow. Super excited. Guys, if you could invite your friends. International Women's Day tomorrow. I'm going to bring down the house. It's going to be an amazing presentation. Go to bit.ly/Dallas Millions. It's only $9. Why? Because I had to strike a balance. I had to strike a balance between, I want you to come and pay attention. So that means you got to sow some type of seed. But I want you to have the information. What's that CJA CPD? So does that make sense? bit.ly/Dallas Millions. Invite your friends. The name of the presentation is Her Story. Not history. Not his story, but her story. And we're going to be talking about what women can do to be able to shift their mindsets so they can earn more, invest more, and save more. It's critical. Right. Career professional development. Exactly. So what we have to realize is that this journey, and even as women, we've not always been able to hold land. We've not always been able to hold revenue. So all of this is new to us. We've not always been able to work. So as women, it's new to us too, in terms of generations. We not that many generations to the polls, whether we're women or African Americans. So all of this is new to us. So we've got to learn to pull our power and utilize our power. But more importantly, we got to learn that failure to charge your worth right now. And there's not a week that goes by that I don't talk to some woman that says, Coach, I'm in the homeless shelter. What do I do? Coach, I'm about to lose my house. What do I do? Coach, I'm sleeping in my car. What do I do? These are not lazy women. See, that would be the first thing I used to think. Man, you did this. You brought this on. You say, if you keep living, you're going to find that sometimes circumstances just get outside of your control. Sometimes things happen in your life that are not your fault. Some of it may be your fault, but some of it's not. But you don't know what you don't know. And your inability or unwillingness to learn how to earn money with your two hands puts you in a predicament that you're relying upon a job, or you're relying upon a husband, or you're relying upon something outside of your control. And so the one thing that I think that all women should not only know, hey, Amber, I know, girl, we getting ready to go to Dallas, and I had this word that was on my heart. So one thing that I think that all women should not only know, but my kids are helping me work on a book called Kitty Cash. And Kitty Cash is for young entrepreneurs. It's going to take them about through 25 jobs that they can do step by step to earn money. And I have plans to donate 500 copies to start to the Boys and Girls Club of America, because I think that that is a skill that, when taught, will help alleviate some of the drug dealers in the world, will help alleviate some of the prostitutes in the world. The women say they sell their body because they ain't got something else, nothing else to sell. It'll alleviate some of the strippers in the world. Girl, you can make just as much money with a sandwich stand as you can getting on that stage. So my goal is to donate 500 copies initially to the Boys and Girls Club, and then more every single year, because the reason children sell drugs and the reason that people strip and do things that we may look down on is because nobody's ever taught them to do anything else. And nobody's ever taught them that it takes the same math skills to be a drug dealer as it does to be an engineer. Did anybody catch that? Look at your neighbor and say, wow, it takes the same math skills, a discernment, reasonable deduction. It takes the same skills to be a drug dealer as it takes to be an engineer. But nobody ever told you could be an engineer. It's the same skills, the same diligence, because guess what? Only way you get paid as a drug dealer is you got to be out on that corner all day, every day. So you're already working 10, 12 hours, especially on the weekend, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 5 days a week. 5 days a week you out there from the time people start getting paid 3 o'clock to 3 and 4 in the morning. That's 12 hours a day. So if I could show you how to put 12 hours a day, 5 days a week into a legitimate business, how many people would rather do that than running from the police, getting put in jail? And then that's another thing. That's another thing. We've got to teach our children that being an entrepreneur is an option. And that's the one thing that I know for a fact my children know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that they can be an entrepreneur. They don't have to be drug dealers. They don't have to be pimps or prostitutes. They don't have to work a job. They can take all of their creative ideas and creative energy and generate as much revenue for themselves as they want. And to me, like I told you guys earlier, that's the legacy that I leave. Legacy to me is more than just how much money I left you in the bank. Because if I don't leave you a good understanding about that money won't last long. Why do you think lottery winners, they money don't last long? NFL football players, NBA basketball players. I love that A-Rod is doing that new show to go in and help the basketball players and baseball players and football players that just didn't know what to do with the money. And so they ran through it. And so that's legacy. You know, if you don't teach your kids that money comes and goes, but as long as you know how to use your right hand and your left hand, you can go make some more. And that's why people like Donald Trump been bankrupt so many times. Girl, that man don't care. Because he's got the skills to go out and make more money. We lose a job and we lose our mind. We gotta have a backup plan for these jobs because they're not loyal. So, you know, when you are in relentless pursuit of your purpose, it changes the world in so many ways. There are so many books you guys should be writing, so much advice you should be giving, so many people you should be helping, but you can't get beyond your own fear. And until you get beyond your own fear, not only are you stuck, but the people you're supposed to be serving, they're stuck too. And that's my biggest regret. My biggest regret is that it took me so long to see my greatness and to see what God put inside of me to serve the world. That's my biggest regret. If I could do anything all over again, it would be to go early and to not just give up and to really just look high and low for my purpose, and to spend my time wisely and not read so many thrillers and Stephen King books and Dean Koontz, but to read Napoleon Hill and Dale Carnegie and Zig Ziglar. I didn't know anything about that though. I had to find that in corporate America. So corporate America started me reading John Maxwell and Brian Tracy. And my very first job, everything happens for a reason. My very first job in Houston, I worked for a computer department store called Micro Center. First, I was the inventory control specialist, and then I was the store office manager over the cashiers and all the cash that came in. But they required that every single quarter you do 8 hours of computer training and 8 hours of personal development. And that's when I fell in love with Malcolm Gladwell. Oh, they was off the chain, baby. They made a lot of money. And their customer service was unparalleled. They had customer service like Chick-fil-A. So that's where I fell in love with Brian Tracy. And I haven't. My mom does, Christina. That's when I first heard about the story of the hammer, Sam Walton. Habitat for Humanity. That's when I first heard about time management. That's when I first read Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's how I met Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and all of the greats that are still out there. What every supervisor should know. That's where I really learned to be a great leader and to put people first. And so that's where it started. That's where it started. And so if you look back at your history, what you're going to see is that God has given you so much to prepare you for now that for you not to use it is almost sacrilege. We'll scare ourselves and say, I'm not ready. I don't know enough. Art of War, yes. The Art of War, Sun Tzu. I'm going to tell y'all a story from the Art of War in a minute. And 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. My absolute favorites too. But Robert Greene has a book, sis, called Mastery. And I think every entrepreneur should read Mastery because Mastery teaches you to be patient. And it tells you the story of all the greats and how even like Charles Darwin, he had to have a mentor, somebody that took him to the ranks. And it took him time to become great. He had to go do his work. He had to go to the Galapagos, spend his time, catalog those animals and all those indigenous species. But that's how he became great. 48 Laws of Power is all about strategy. It's all about being strategic in a world when you're not taught to be strategic. And the Art of War is too. One of the stories, and I'll tell you this only because I love this book so much. I'll tell y'all this and I'll let y'all go. I can finish my work and go to bed. One of the stories in the Art of War is that they were fighting another faction and he knew they outnumbered. He knew the people outnumbered him, right? Hey, Cheryl, how's that grandbaby doing? And back then, you used to could count the soldiers on the other people's side by counting their campfires. Because every soldier had their own campfire. So he said, this is what I'm going to do. And he told his people, every night we're going to reduce our campfires by half. So the first night, it may have looked like 500 of them out there. But of course, the other people had 10,000. So he said, half the campfire's gone. Looked like 250. Next night, half the campfire's gone. Looked like 125. So the people that had 10,000 was like, oh, look at them. They army is getting afraid and leaving. So we don't even need that many people to beat them. They start sending soldiers back. Sending soldiers back. And by the time they realized that these people wasn't really gone, they was still over there, it was too late. So that's one of the reasons I'm so strategic, is because I know that strategy can win any game, even before brute strength. Brute strength and speed is nothing against strategy. So yeah, Mastery by Robert Greene. Tell me, Lisa, when you read it, that book is everything. But again, as an entrepreneur, it teaches you to go sit down somewhere. True story. But guys, if you're in UCU, I'm going to record a separate video for you because I have some homework for you after you watch this video. Guys, I love you. I'll see you in the morning. And I'll see you from, oh, you're welcome, Nikki. I'll see you guys from Dallas. Don't forget, tickets are only $9. bit.ly/Dallas Millions. Grab your ticket, and I'll see you tomorrow night for International Women's Day. Coming live from Dallas. I'm going to rip it up, y'all. See you later. Coach, love you.